Hey guys, this is Price. I recently posted this in the Snapmaker Facebook group, and I had a lot of positive responses, as well as many people requesting for me to be able to tell them the details, as well as the settings of how to do this. So I'm going to make this video to show you guys how I did it. And so I separated this into different parts, so it's easier that if you wanted to be able to look back, you can just come and see which part is not making sense. And so with that all being said, please hit like and subscribe. That's going to help me. I'm going to do more videos too to be able to show other tidbits of information that can help me, also to help anyone who watches these videos master the SnapMaker 1.6 watt. Also, if you guys have any questions or any other pointers or tidbits you'd like to be able to bring up, please leave a comment. That would, my whole goal is to be able to make like a community too with a visual, so that we could be able to all learn how to do this and be able to make some beautiful engravings. So this one, let's get into it. So with picture manipulation, so the first thing is to do is just to get a software to help you be able to edit pictures. So there are so many. So you don't always have to use Photoshop or Lightroom or Lightspace. You don't have to use the big ones. There are so many other good ones as well. Just search and find one. I like Photoshop because it is powerful and well, it's very powerful. It has a learning curve, but once you learn how to be able to do it, there's a lot of great things you can do, and some great Facebook groups as well as to be able to help you edit photos for free. It's pretty cool. So here is the original picture I used from my friend and his beautiful bride. So the first thing I want to do is to be able to make sure that Lubin will be able to pick this up. So Lubin will only render black and white. Lightburn does multicolors. It's Lubin's just easier to be able to get things in and out, while Lightburn has a large learning curve. But if you learn Lightburn, power to you. But if not, this is why I'm showing the video. So the first thing I want to do is to turn this into a black and white filter. So I make sure I click on that. I come to this yin yang type circle and I go to black and white. So the important thing here is that I want to make sure there are two separate ones, because if not, I can't edit it. So from here, I mean, it looks good just like this, but you can be able to edit it a little bit more. Whatever you want to do, that looks great. And so if you want to do any editing for the background, you got to press on this layer right here. And so for any editing, I like to use, well, I'll show you why I edited. So with this picture, I cut out all of that background. And so, yep, it's just those two with that building behind them. So if you want to, which you could just leave the background, but if you want to put it something else, I make sure it's in the magnetic lasso tool if I'm trying to trace them, because I'll show you why. Let me zoom in. This is a pretty cool feature because it traces colors. Because I'm coming here, but look, do you see that? It's actually kind of hard to. It is tracing his suit while I'm kind of going away from it. It just sticks to him. So it helps you be able to get a very precise cut. And so let's say if I got a good section, which I like to work sections at a time, because if I mess up, it's not like I have to restart the whole thing. But yeah, I just make sure that point A, which is the very beginning, and the end point meet, in which you could double click right here. And so this is the area in which can be edited. So what I like to do from here Let's get the background eraser tool and just erase it. And so I just make sure that the strength, well, let's see, right click, hardness is at 100%. Erases it easier. Do whatever you want, but that's what I like to do. And then you just keep working around until you get all the picture out. So yeah, just make sure after every cut, select, deselect, because if not, you can't. If you see that dotted line, that boundary, you can't keep editing outside of it. So if you deselect, you can continue to go and do more. So yep, that's what you do. With that, I'm just going to show you that far and just let you be able to play with it. Photoshop, you just got to play with it and learn, but for what I showed you, that will suffice for what I'm trying to do. And so, yep, I just combined a couple photos together to make this. Do whatever you'd like, just make sure it's in black and white. And so after that, let's see what's the next step. Yep, understand settings in Lumen. Perfect. So I come here to Lumen. I know it's a different picture, but it's the same thing. It was my second option. This is the size, 169 by 210 millimeters. That'll be important in a little bit, but just kind of wanted to preface that right there. But for now, what's important are these functions right here. Black and white, I have never used because I think it'd be important with logos and things like that, but I don't know. I've never really wanted to use it. Don't think it's very really helpful. Maybe it is. But for this purpose, grayscale is the king. So I know it looks a little bit dotty, but if you can get it at the right settings, it will look pretty well, which that is grayscale right there. You can kind of see the dots, but it still looks fantastic. Well, at the grayscale, I leave it at 50-50, and this white clip all the way to the top. And so leave it at Atkinson. Atkinson is the best. I've tried other ones and was disappointed. It was hard to use, but these are the settings for the processing mode right now. So I'll go in vector in another video, but all this is like if you got a logo, words, or a solid picture, highly suggest going to vector with a different type of file. So go to next. This toolpath is important, so it's always good to name it. If you have multiple pictures that you're doing, it's good to name them so you can be able to see what is what. Marriage. Sure, why not? The preset, so we are doing a dot filled engraving. Yes, you want it to fill. I mean, you could do on the path, but you're not going to get the same result. It's just going to show you the outline of it. Why the fill makes the photo. Leave the dot in, the movement in dot. In the fill interval, so this is the most important part of the whole video, is this one. So this is dependent on size. So think of this as density. And so the bigger the picture, the smaller the number will be. But smaller the picture, the larger. Smaller the picture, the larger the the larger the picture, smaller fill interval. Smaller fill interval, larger picture. And so with this being a pretty big size, I wanted to go about 1 point. That's what I did. It was 0.12. So let's say if this was like a small one, let's say about like 20 millimeters by 20 millimeters, you're probably going to want a 0.2. This is because it's like your picture, the reason it just puts so many dots in a certain amount of area. And if you have too many dots in a very small picture, it's just going to look just like you burnt a piece of toast, just completely black. But in a smaller area, if you're able to decrease the amount of dots in an area, you'll actually get to see a picture. There'll be a greater contrast between the white, and the black. And so for, let's say if you did the whole canvas that you can do, I would highly recommend 0.05. That way, that leaves space for, that's going to include a lot more dots. And so I'm going to make another video that's going to go into this more detail, but for the purposes of this, like I said, for this size, which is 169 by 210. Okay, I gotta put this back. 169 by 210. I'm gonna put 0.12. That worked pretty well, and I'm very happy with it. So another one too, dwell time. This is just the amount of time that the laser spends on one dot, meaning just one speck. So depending on whatever material you use, so let's say if it's bamboo, you're going to want a higher one, which that means it's 12 milliseconds per dot. Well, that's pretty fast. This will help it be able to get into the bamboo because the bamboo is pretty tough. It's smooth, and it's harder for the machine to be able to penetrate if it's a 1.6 milliwatt. But for this one that I did with this marriage photo, I put an 8. So the laser power, this can always be adjusted. I like to always start at 100, and you can always change it. How to change it mid-job. You just get the touchscreen Snapmaker. It almost looks like a smartphone. While it's printing or starting, you just swipe it to the right or to the left, and then you just put on laser power, and you can adjust it there. So just to make sure it's not either cutting through the material, or I guess you could say bleeding through, meaning it's just so powerful that it just burns everything around it instead of being super defined. So yeah, and after that, so this part gets a lot of people. So after it's done generating, yeah, I understand it looks like it's going to look like charcoal toast, but that's not what it's going to look like. Lubin, that's one of its downfalls, is that it doesn't accurately show what the machine can do. So I know it looks like charcoal, but go ahead and do it anyway, and just keep testing it. And so while it's engraving, just pay attention to the power. Make sure it's not killing the picture, and it's not just like overpowering it. Just play with it, tinker with it. That's like how I learned, and that's, I think, the best way you'll learn as well. And for the last portion is the spray. And so I really like this Rust-Oleum matte clear enamel. And so it's pretty cheap. Well, yeah, it's pretty cheap. So what it does, it's just like a protectant. So with these, if I touched his suit straight after I laser engraved it, it would smudge all this black soot everywhere. And so I hate that, because you would have this great picture and that smudge would just completely ruin it. But this will help stop any smudging. It's gonna just make sure everything's put in place and it's not moving or anything like that. Plus, it like helps it stay good for a lot longer time. And what you do, you just spray it on. I drenched it, just absolutely made it soaked. I didn't just like spend 3 minutes spraying it, but I made sure it was pretty well sprayed. And then I waited a couple hours, I put it outside, and then I just did this 3 more times. And then I had the perfect result. So yeah, that covers it today. That's how I was able to make the machine. So yeah, like I said earlier, please hit the like, subscribe button, and put any comments that I wasn't clear, or if you're confused about, or if you just need general help, I would love to help you. And yeah, just let me know. thank you so much for watching the video, and I hope this helps. Please comment your success um, engravings as well, because I would love to learn from you guys as well. Thank you. Bye.